All right, people, how are we doing? So I'm trying something new tonight. We've got, I'm doing a YouTube and Instagram live duo here. So I will be going between the screens, going to do about 15, 20 minutes on Instagram live. But the YouTube one is the main one. So let's have a look. We've got 20. So let me know where you're from. Remember to give the channel a thumbs up, please. That helps the algorithm. We'll just give it a couple of minutes as we do each week, just to get some a chance for other people to join in. Got my snacks and my drink ready. Don't need body language a second to find listing. Stay and just look for the one wearing a mullet in 2020. So guys, just for the viewers who will be watching this after the live show has finished, as in when it goes onto YouTube itself, you may want to go to about 5-10 minutes in here, because this is where me and the viewers who turn up, we have a little chat here. We've got some viewers coming in on the Instagram live there as well. So how is everybody doing in South Africa? Oh, wow, we've got somebody from South Africa there. Brilliant. What's happening, lads? Rotherham. Hi, Helen. So, yes, tonight, that's what we're going to be talking about, Tiger King. The amount of questions that I've got are about Tiger King globally. This is what's quite frightening about YouTube, is that, or social media, is that the questions have literally been coming in from four corners of the world, and it still puzzles me. I don't take it for granted how many people are actually tuning in to the stuff that I'm saying with Instagram and Twitter, and obviously on YouTube, which is the main platform. But from Bolton, Las Vegas, Nevada. How is Las Vegas at the moment then? Who's this glowing ember? How is Las Vegas at the moment? I can imagine with the lockdown in the United States, I bet that's quite surreal to be crossing Vegas with no people. But then we hear that the UFC is still going to do their UFC 249. Will that be in Las Vegas? I wonder. How do they actually run how do you run a fight where you've got to keep 2 meter social distancing? That's always an interesting one. So also Northern Ireland, the Netherlands, Michigan. Who we got on the live stream here on Instagram? Pegs, Newcastle, Tiger King. You couldn't make it up. It is crazy indeed. Yes, I am streaming on YouTube. I'll be doing, like I say, 15 minutes on Instagram, and then pushing people across to the YouTube channel. Dana White, the Dawn's like a ghost town. Yeah, it is like a ghost town. So remember, guys, there's 74 people on the YouTube. Please get them thumbs up to 74 as well. So smash the like button there. Like I say, that really helps the algorithm and makes it worthwhile doing stuff like this. So if you can smash that like button, that'll be greatly appreciated. Like I say, London, England, Ulster, Jarrow. You can probably hear us from there. UFC will be a private island. No, I think he's got an island. I don't know if Dana White has actually said that will be where UFC 249 is. So Gaethje versus Tony Ferguson. I hope that, one of the reasons I hope Ferguson wins that is that if he doesn't, we'll never get to see Khabib versus Ferguson. I think that would be an absolute cracker. Nicky Jones, hello, how are you doing? Jordan Huntley, hello. Nicky Jones, the man, the legend. Niagara Falls, wowzers. Yes to the fresh train. The Nike Air 180 OG. Yeah, the Nike Air OG 180, as they originally called. If you know your trainers, you know Nike Air. Okay, so let's get started. What I would like to say is tonight what we're going to be discussing is about, from a psychological perspective. Yeah, and if you notice, I haven't got the bow tie on tonight. The reason why I haven't got the bow tie on is I've been working from home, and I'm just absolutely shattered. I am just absolutely shattered. I simply couldn't be bothered. I've been doing sort of webinars, Skypes, etc. with my clients, and but it's evening here in the UK, and I am just going to relax. So today we're going to be talking about from a psychological profile perspective, and then I'm going to be giving you some examples of just some of the stuff that I have viewed within the Tiger King full series. All the episodes there. Is that from a profiler perspective, who is the most insane? who is the most crazy, who is the most evil. And I'll be giving you some character traits that you may or may not have noticed. And again, I'll be asking in the comments for you guys to comment as well about, did you pick it up? Did you see this? What do you think of this behavior? And then together as a team, we will start going through this. That's what I'm trying to do. Obviously, share my knowledge on the Believe in Bruce channel, but also what I'll be doing is I'll be linking the behaviors that I've been noticing to how we can use the examples that we're seeing on Tiger King to improve our mental health, to improve our performance, because there is definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, a lot of learning to be gained by, the stuff that goes on within, say, Tiger King. So, is it Carole? Is she the most crazy? Is it Joe? Is it Doc Antle? Now, Doc Antle might be a surprise, might be a surprise front runner. And I will explain more as the video goes on. So just have a look there. Charlie Stone. Hello, Charlie Kelly. Oh, I've got my wife on there. Fantastic. Brilliant. I don't know. You might as well come and join us. You're just downstairs. Brucey, Jeff Lowe. Oh, shit. No way. Sorry, I got mixed up there. I thought that was Jeff Lowe from Tiger King had joined. I was thinking, this has got to be fate. All right, so we'll be discussing that. But what I'd like you to do, if you notice, if you haven't already subscribed, again, if you're on Instagram, I'm going to be shutting this off soon. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. That support the channel. And also, if you notice, this is the big thing. And I don't know, again, I am authentic enough to say it. We're nearly at 50,000 subscribers. Yeah, I'm going to say that again. 50,000 subscribers. And we started less than a year ago, just putting out some videos. Again, the big one that got this started was the KSI Logan Paul body language assessment. And, it went from 3 or 4 subscribers to just grew and grew and grew. So I've kept doing the videos, kept putting the grind in, and then here we are. So we're a few thousand off 50. And I want to say this is this is us. This is the help that you've given me. So what would be good is if you can share this channel or just put some good words out there about this, that would be absolutely fantastic. Again, not only does it help us from a brand perspective and a reach, but also a lot of the stuff that we're talking about mental health, performance psychology, well-being, all this type of stuff. If more people hear about it, then that's going to be good for them as well. What I'm also going to be doing tonight is for the first time, I am going to be doing a thing. Now, I may get this wrong, and those who know me know that I'm not that technologically gifted, but there is a thing called Super Chat and Super Stickers. Now, I didn't know about this, but I have been informed that if people want to make a donation, that they can. And what I'm going to do is that if you want to make a donation tonight, and I think your messages come up, so I'll answer the questions as they come up, I will be donating all the money that I get once YouTube has took its fees or whatever it is, to a charity called Mind, which is one of the biggest charities we've got here. That will be a donation straight to them because they help with mental health. They help a lot with homeless people, just people who are down in the luck and might need some support with how they think, feel, and act. So if you do want to have some super chats tonight, it's in the it's on the YouTube there. Please do that. Like I say, every single penny that becomes available to me will be going to Mind. Again, I'm not sure because this is the first time I've done it. I'm not sure how YouTube pays, how long it takes, but I promise, I give them a word that every penny that we raise here tonight will be going towards Mind UK. All right, then. So on that basis, let's get stuck into Tiger King. biblical. Right. So can I just get some interaction both here on the live stream and also on YouTube? Out of the 3, Carole, Joe, or Doc Antle, just bang it in the comments now. Who do you think is the most crazy? Who do you think, and I'm going to use the words that I've seen in the newspapers, insane, the evil one out of all 3 of them? So just get it in the comments here and we'll start going through. I just really important to see your ideas of who you think is the most evil out of the 3 of them. It'd be good to identify what your opinions are. Look, Carole, Doc, Joe. Okay. Yeah, keep them coming through. Respect the Bruce of the chat. Thanks very much, Nick. Good to see you again. Carole. All right. Okay. Yeah, we've got this. Carole is the most evil. John Gares, Carole. There's a lot of Caroles going. Let's have a look here. Baskin, Carole Baskin. There's a few. There's a few Doc Antles coming through. In the middle, we've got Doc Antle. Hi, Ethan. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ethan. Thank you very much, Dickie. Let's help them out. Love the content. Super information. Northern lad here. Thank you, Dickie King. Thanks for that as well. Appreciate that. Like I say, any donations will be going straight to Mind UK when I get it from YouTube. All right, so I think we can see there that what we've got is an acceptance, if you will, by the data that you guys have just given me, is that Carole would be viewed as the most, let's say, interesting one. The words that have been used are insane, evil, etc. All right, etc. But there's also some information out there that we've got to raise our awareness to. Now, again, I don't know if you joined me for the last session, but there's a thing called heuristic bias, all right? Heuristic bias, subconscious bias, and conscious bias. And I'll take a drink and I'll explain why we may be all correctly or incorrectly thinking that Carole is the most evil one. So, let's explore it. Now, what we've got with Carole Baskin is that from the moment you start to watch episode 3, possibly before that, all right, possibly before that, the narrative, the story, the image, the portrayal that the team at Netflix want to give you is they're trying to paint Carole in a hell. They're trying to paint everybody in a certain light. Okay, they're trying to paint everybody in a certain light. But what you get from that is that we start forming a picture of that particular person. All right. So in this example, it would be Carole. All right. So we're forming an example of Carole, a picture of Carole, a narrative of Carole. That is then reinforced by other data, other storylines, other edits that they then sync together. That allows us to really create this image within our head. All right. Image within our head. And we do that is sense. In fact, have I got one of the books that I've got? Let's have a look here. Really good book. It's called The Believing Brain. All right, The Believing Brain. So we all need to believe things, from the supernatural to Jesus. Does he exist or not? Do ghosts exist? Is there angels in the sky? And a lot of other subjects that there may or may not be proof of. And again, I'm not here to debate whether God exists or something. That's, if you believe in it, brilliant. If you don't believe in it, brilliant. I really do not care. But we need to believe in something, because we can't be blank. All right, we can't be blank. So what we've got is an opportunity here to more or less believe in the image that the Netflix team is painting us, not just of Carole, but of all of them. Joe, the Doc Antle, and even the employees of Joe and Carole, and sort of all this type of stuff. But there's a definite narrative there. Now, when you talk about heuristic bias, is that one of the beautiful things about being humans is that sometimes we don't stop to check our thoughts and feelings. We don't stop to check the image or the story that we are coming up with. So, guys, if you are on Instagram, just take 2 seconds. I'm just going to end it on Instagram. If you want to jump onto the YouTube, that would be great. Remember, subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Been great having you. Just there we go. Brilliant. So that's finished. So yeah, we don't stop to check the stories that we tell ourselves. Now, I've got a little tool here. Again, I showed you this last week. Hopefully, this is something that I'm going to be donating to the NHS. I've been in the last stages of talks to help them with the NHS Nightingale hospitals that are dealing with the coronavirus. But sometimes we need a nudge just to stop and think, all right, are these stories correct that we are telling ourselves? Now, you watching here, you would have probably all told yourselves different stories in the past. And I want you to think of a story that you've told yourself, an unhelpful story. Maybe somebody wasn't kind to you. Maybe somebody wasn't helpful to you. Maybe somebody was, I don't know, they wounded you, they hurt you, physically, emotionally. In fact, let's stick with the emotionally. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole of physically. But there was something unhelpful that they'd done to you. And that there, because we have created a story in our head, it's very hard to then start to go back. It's very hard to almost walk backwards and deconstruct that story that we've come up with. And again, you've probably had this in your life, maybe a partner, maybe a friend who's hurt you, maybe a partner who's hurted you, maybe something, you didn't get the job interview, you create a narrative about you, start doubting yourself. Well, this is what this is now. It is a nudge, just a simple nudge to say, all right, is the story, because remember, when I did that body language video, by the way, when I last looked, it was at 221 or 222,000 views in a week. I mean, wow, that is awesome. That is literally, that is my best performing video to date that we have had on this channel. Again, I keep referring to we, because without you, the viewers, I wouldn't, I wouldn't have the views. Massively outperforming the largest sort of, how many views I got the KSI Logan Paul one. So there's definite interest in that body language. And when I was going through that and the questions that I was being asked, it's like a lot of the stuff was against Carole. And again, you see the newspapers reporting this, etc., etc. But I come through the angle of, I'm going to treat Carole as that she's innocent. And what do I want to keep from the prosecution? Because by coming from 180 degrees of, yes, she's bad, or yes, she's this, you often actually find out more information. You don't blind yourself to that image that you are trying to create. And that's what they've done very well. Look at full characters on the show, all right? The full character set. The actors, if you will. I mean, the Netflix team must have thought they had hit the jackpot. Let's be honest. They must have thought they had hit the jackpot. There's such an eclectic bunch of different and interesting characters that to get that type of people together for an actual movie, that would have took years to search for those type of the characters. Yet here we are. We've got the full cast that nature, that fate has just brought together. All right, just brought together. So because they're a bit different, and remember, they're beautifully human. They are beautifully them, but they are a little bit different to the average, if there is such a thing as an average. How they look, how they talk, how they work, how they walk. Again, there was one guy without legs, one person without an arm, got ripped off by a tiger. There's just uncommon people and uncommon behaviors that, when put together, our heuristic bias starts kicking in, and then we're fed little bits. That again creates the story. It makes us want to watch more. But let's actually go into the profiling aspect here of Carole, of Joe, and of Doc Antle. Yeah. Because what has been going on, and I don't know if I mentioned this last week or not, is a thing called magnification. All right, thing called magnification. And what we can potentially be doing here, and remember, I'm not saying Carole's innocent. All right, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, let's just balance our thoughts. Let's be factual. Let's be fair. Let's make sure that our stories and our narratives aren't being, above our emotional baseline. So what I'm trying to do here is, again, not be pro, not be against. I'm trying to be balanced. And again, I've got a lot of positive comments from people, from professionals who've watched my body language videos. Actually, that was probably the most fairest but accurate based on knowledge and experience we've come across. Because I do point out a lot of things about where Carole, seems to speak fluently and there's a flow there, etc. So it wasn't all just against her. But magnification is that we create this picture in our head, and think about you now. Is there somebody that you've fallen out with? Is there somebody who's wounded you? Is there somebody who has hurt you emotionally, in the recent past or distant past? And what you've done is, because of you being wounded, you've created that picture inside your head. That's what you've done. You've actually created that picture inside your head. And because it wounded you so much, or wasn't helpful, or any of those other negative emotions that can be associated with it, you just haven't wanted to let that image go. Even though it was burning you, you wanted to carry that image with you. All right, you wanted to carry that image with you. Guys, if you just joined, please help the channel out. Get 177 people there. Please smash the like button. That really helps the algorithm with the channel. If you can do that, that would be awesome. Obviously makes it worth my while as well. And make sure you've subscribed to the channel. So yeah, this image that you are created inside your head, the magnification. So imagine if this person had upset you. They've done one thing. They've done one thing that's really hurt you or annoyed you or made you embarrassed in front of other people. Which again, beautifully human. That's what you all do. People hurt me. I get hurt. I get emotional. I am but human, as are you. But then what we've got is that we've got an ability that goes unchecked, where what we continue to do is we continue to build that picture, because what we're trying to do is self-preserve. We're trying to stay away from that person because we don't want it to happen again. We don't want to get hurt again. We don't want to feel that same particular way. So it's almost like we sort of create a blockade where by us creating that negative image, we are forcing that person to stay away so we don't get hurt again. And they could do 99 things, as I explained last week, 99 things, positive things, after the one thing that they hurt you with. But because you are wary of that person now, because that's the story that you're putting inside your head, then you'll probably bypass, you'll ignore, you'll be blind to those 99 things. And you look for every single little negative thing that they do, that you'll then build upon your model, you'll build upon your image that helps you reaffirm what you want them to be. Does that make sense? That's what you're doing. You're building an image, you're blocking everything else out, and as long as the extra bits come together that helps you build that image up, then that's what you want to do with that. And that's what's going on here with Carole Baskin. The narrative that was going on has been offered by the Netflix team. Like, are we making our decisions based on truth? Are we making our decisions based on data? All right, that's what we've got to ask ourselves. And I'm not saying, she is or she isn't. I'm saying, are we? Yeah, are we? Because when heuristic bias comes in, when subconscious bias, when conscious bias, we know we want her to, it's not even that we are unaware of it, that we know that we want her to do this. Then we're not in the most rational place to say yes or no. We're not in the most data-driven place to then come up with an argument or to offer, to theorize something, one of our suggestions or one of our opinions. So that's what we're trying to do here. And when you start looking at the behaviors of all three of them, this is where it starts to get really interesting. Because when you look, let's take Carole first. All right, let's take Carole first. And again, please comment in there. And again, for those who've just joined, great. I am doing a thing tonight where if you want to hit the super chat button, if that's what it's called, super chat message or a sticker, I'll try to notice them. Something I'm just staring at the camera. But all of the money that I raise tonight will be going to a charity called Mind, which helps people with their mental health, which is a mega importance at the moment. So every single penny that I get from YouTube, from the super chat, will be going towards Mind. So if anybody wants to make a donation, thanks very much. So, Carole, now in the comments, correct me if I am wrong, but what I hear and what I see is Carole Baskin set up a zoo initially in the early days. That was cub petting. That was tiger breeding. That was everything that she's trying to shut down now, or at least she was within the Netflix documentary. Yeah. So again, from what I believe, her USP, if I can call it that, the reason, like her get out of jail card, or actually the reason why I can do it and I want to shut down Joe Exotic, or I want to shut down Doc Antle, or all the rest of them, is because I rescue tigers, or I rescue bobcats, even though she said she bought like 50 bobcats or something like this. So her argument is pretty weak for why she, in my opinion, again, I might get something here, is I might get some, some balance, if you will, that actually, Carole, your argument fails at the first hurdle because you are doing exactly what the other people are doing. You've got an enclosure, you are selling tickets, you are allowing people to come and take pictures, etc., because that, your social media presence is absolutely huge. So your argument about you versus them, for me, really falls. It's inauthentic. That's what I would be saying. But she seems so blissfully unaware of this, the level of, it's like she's got no awareness, or she's just blissfully ignorant to the fact that she is exactly the same as the other Parks, which from a profiling perspective is again, it's quite there is some questions to be asked there. Yeah, there is some questions to be asked, because when you look at the structure, she's very matriarchal. Yeah, she's very matriarchal, and again, to be fair and balanced, this is only the data from what I got from episode 3, the main data from obviously the body language assessment, but also from watching the other episodes as well, is that be of no doubt that Carole Baskin is in charge of that place, of her world. Very, very much the matriarch in charge. And woe betide anybody who goes against Carole Baskin's word. All right, I'll start with that. Because she has got that very much controlling nature. I know she wears the flowery clothes, and I know she likes to portray an image of, hey, we're free-flowing, we care. But underneath that, there is a core steel rod, an absolute steel rod of self-love, that Carole is in love with herself. Yeah, of Carole. It's all about Carole. It is the Carole show. Trying to shut down these parks while keeping her open. Taking control. Did she or did she not kill her husband? We don't know, but I would love to question her about it. We've already said that in the video. But then what you've got is that she dominates any situation. And she's almost what, and again, what I would like you to do is, if you're up for it, when you watch the episodes about Tiger King, watch when somebody's speaking and Carole is there. All right, watch when somebody's speaking and Carole is there. There's a huge, what she does is she doesn't just look at somebody; she looks at them intently and she sort of lifts her head, and it's that little chin lift there. She's keeping an eye on them. She's keeping an eye on them. You just got to take my word for that. She's not just listening to them. She is letting them know that she's listening. Just from a body language perspective, she is silently letting them know that she is monitoring every word that other person is saying. And she does it with the reporter, she does it with her husband, she does it with the park staff. Go through and watch the episode and you'll see that when someone's speaking, she doesn't take her eyes off them. Constantly staring, all right? Constantly staring. Can I have a look at the channel there? 200 in the chat. Smash the like button before you type support the channel. Thank you, Nick. Yes, 240 in the chat. Please smash that like button. I'm getting used to this YouTube phraseology now. Sometimes I say, please hit the thumbs up button. That would be great. But smash the like button seems to be the phraseology that we use in the YouTube world. So Carole is definitely dominant. She's definitely controlling. And she's quite happy to silently pressure other people into displaying or seeing the type of behaviors or words that she wants them to say. Now, when you look at all the other 3 parks as well, what Carole's got is a lot of structure. She's got a lot of strategy. She gives this certain image off, and again, that's marketing, and that's absolutely fine. But with her workers, she's come up with a very psychosocial reward type program that is similar, and I'm going to use this word, but similar to what Joe Exotic does, as well as Doc Antle. And the fact is, they've got a lot of people, in Carole's instance, that works for free. Yeah, she's got a lot of volunteers, or at least that the word is, that's the word that Carole says, all right? He's got a lot of volunteers. And then when she's doing the interview, she explains that there is different color t-shirts. Again, please, post in the comments below, but there's some type of ranking. So you come here for a year and it's a green T-shirt. And then you come for another year and it's a yellow T-shirt, but you're not allowed any days off, or you've got to come, or if you don't, don't show up, you go back down to that next level. And it's very similar to like karate, or, where you've got the different belts, or jiu-jitsu, or any type of platform, Six Sigma from a corporate learning perspective, where you've got certain levels to hit, and there's always that next level to go to. The interesting thing for this is that people are working for free. Yeah, people are working for free. And there's one specific conversation that's caught on Netflix, where they're asking them about why do they work for free, and, can you take a day off, etc. And one of the ladies offers that, they've even got to work Christmas Day. Yeah, they've even got to work Christmas Day. To which then Carole does this fake laugh that I've already talked about, because it's a situation that she feels uncomfortable with. And she does this fake laugh as if to say, haha, that's brilliant, now move on and talk about something else. But even there, she's staring at the woman intently because she knows she's got the camera crews there. So she's very dominant, very matriarchal, not afraid to put her will onto other people, even though she tries to do it subliminally. She tries to do it under the table, let's call it. But also, she is like a high, some people call it a control freak. I don't think the language is helpful, but what I would class her as is a high control individual. Yeah, she's definitely a high control individual. And this is where I think Carole may come unstuck with all the extra scrutiny and all the media that has now been placed upon her because of the Netflix. That up until this point, and this will be interesting over the next 3 months how she handles it. Up until this point, yeah, she's almost had control of her little patch in America. So she's got the stuff, she's got the park. There is no evidence to link her with her husband's disappearance. And again, obviously that's what we've been told. But she's also, from the reports that you read, got the sheriff in her back pocket because her brother's got something to do with that department, and it was all, done and dusted. So she's controlled that little area, but now it's a global phenomenon. There is global interest in what Carole's done. Has she or hasn't she? Did she kill him? Didn't she kill him? There is definitely global interest here. So now what you've got with that global interest is that Carole, as a high control individual, loses control. Yeah, she's actually going through the process now of losing control. Now, why is that important? All right. Well, the reason why that is important is that because let's just say you've got a phobia. In fact, if anyone's got any phobias that you're happy to share, put that in the comments just so I can have a little look here to see what you're scared of, what you're fearful of. Is there certain things that you avoid? If you're happy to put that in the comments, brilliant. Thank you very much. But what we've got here is it's not a phobia as such, but it'll be dealt with in quite a similar way. Is that there's a fear of losing control. So just like you've got fear of spiders or fear of heights, you've got a fear of losing control. And Jacob, scared of my ex. So Carole has now been into an environment, a cerebral environment, where her amygdala will be firing. That fight or flight will be going off now. She will be perceiving different threats almost in an instant. Her world has flipped. And we start displaying different behaviors, different languages, different emotions when we feel under threat. Because now it's bigger than that little area. She can't control that. So it'll be interesting to see how Carole changes, what Carole does, what she says. Because she's been quite good at narratives now. Quite good at narratives about whatever she said seemed to make sense based on the lack of evidence. But again, you've got body language people looking into this. You've got experts looking into this. All of them are starting asking different questions. So her ability to hold that environment has now been wobbled. It's now been broken, if I can call it that. Will we see a different Carole Baskin? Will we see different emotions, different energies? It may be an interesting time. So very dominant, utilizes her will over people, Again, that's why she's got them working for free there. She's got a hell of a lot of control over her husband. Numerous times during the Tiger King documentary, when her husband was speaking, it was if he would say something and then look at Carole to say, was that okay? Did I do well enough? It's like a little child coming home with his homework and handing his parents his grade sheet. These are my exam marks. Is it all right? Do I still get my sweeties? Do I still get my chocolate? Yeah, I noticed that. So again, with the control here, I wonder how it will affect Carole Baskin. But she does. It's that look of intensity. Very good at creating narratives. But I'm going to bring in the word narcissistic. All right, narcissistic, and I'll explain a little bit more later on. And I'll explain why I think narcissistic would be an area that I would explore with Carole. Because when we flick it across to Jo, all right, surprisingly, or maybe unsurprisingly, there is one hell of a lot of similarities from Carole to Jo Exotic. There is just so many similarities. But should we be surprised by that? Should we? Should we really be surprised? I'm not so sure. And the reason why I say sure, they both own tigers. They've both got an infatuations with furry animals with 4 legs, a tail, and big teeth. So the fact that they've got similar characteristics shouldn't really come as a surprise. Now, I know the story in Netflix is a bit different, that Jo's ended up in jail and Carole hasn't, and Carole seems to have won, and all this type of stuff it's been played out in front of us. But then you look at Jo, all right? Now, the thing with Jo is it's all about him. And me and my wife were talking about this. Every single thing that Jo does is about Jo. From Jo Exotic TV to even the shows at the wildlife park. When he was running for mayor? Was it the mayor of Oklahoma, or was it the senator, or it was some type of political position. Again, if you sort of comment, if you just comment below about what position Jo was running for, that would really help me out. But I know it was something, and I just remember thinking and comparing it to the UK. And again, that's my norm, if you will. I thought, well, would I ever see the mayor of Newcastle, or the person who was going to be the mayor of Newcastle, or whatever, coming down the road on the back of a pickup with a load of Christmas lights wrapped around his neck, or her neck? The mayor, thank you very much. So, I mean, even that, it was all about him, first of all, creating an environment for him to receive adulation. Yeah, he needed that desire to receive that adulation. He seeks adulation. He craves adulation. It's like a drug to him. When we talk about the reward center, you've got the mesolimbic pathway, the dopamine center, the ventral striatum, those parts of the brain that get fired from dopamine hits. Jo's dopamine, that need, it's almost like an addiction. I would go as far as to say it was an addiction. Just like crack cocaine, ecstasy, in fact, people don't get ecstasy, heroin, those really addictive drugs. Jo seems to be, in my opinion, and again, this is just my opinion based on limited data, addicted to attention, addicted to adulation, addicted to all eyes being on Jo. So again, he is a very dominant character. And then when you look at what do I think of Jo's nose twitching? Good question, Danny. Yeah, I've something I explained to my wife. I just couldn't not notice it. He was constantly doing this. So yeah, with Jo, is that dominant character as well. And Carole Baskin had working for free for her. She was dominating her volunteers psychologically, cerebrally, psychosocially. She had created this structure of these belts, if you will, these different color t-shirts, in order to manipulate and coerce the people who were working for her. And nobody was turning up with a gun at their head, so they were doing it under their own free will, but it's a very clever system. I must, doff my cap to her there. And then you've got Joe, who virtually does the same. And again, whether you agree or disagree, or whether you think I'm coming from the right angle, or you've got more information, please comment in the comments. But it seems that Joe would pick individuals up who had a rough time in life, who maybe weren't at the top of their game, who maybe needed somewhere to go, to live, to sleep, like they were at rock bottom. That's, I think, that's the thing that I'm trying to get at here. They didn't have much choice. So when Joe came along, like the knight in shining armor, he knew that they were more malleable, that he could manipulate them more because of their lack of choice. Because of their lack of choice. Now, again, this might have been accommodation, this might have been food. Some of the basics out there. One of the guys that I follow on Twitter today, Lawrence, fantastic guy. He had put something on. It was a video, and it was explaining that here in the UK, with the epidemic that we're facing, and again, this is not just to the UK, it'll be all over, that a lot of the people who are on the minimum wage, who society really doesn't take care of enough, they're the ones on the front line. They are the ones whose needs maybe aren't being met, or who maybe, possibly forced to go into work or whatever because they need to, or they can't stay in. They haven't got a lovely garden. They may live in a sort of block of flats. And Joe, whilst different, it's similar. He looks for people whose options are limited, and then gives them this, this opportunity, as he calls it. But I think from watching, there was one gentleman. He looked like long blonde hair. I think he was the head. Wasn't the manager of the pot. That was another guy. It was the head gamekeeper. It was something like that. Never done in his life. Seen the advert in Craigslist, and decided to take the job. And I'm sure he said he was paid like $138 a week for 7-day weeks. Like 12, 14-hour days. It was something along the lines of about $138 a week. So, although not free, like Carole, yeah, she had this army of volunteers. Let's be fair, $138 a week isn't really much. So again, you've got Joe, the dominant one. He's all about himself, as is Carole, without a shadow of a doubt. There's a lot of self-love there coming from themselves. They need all that attention, all that adulation. They are in charge of their own kingdom or queendom. Yeah, if it's Carole's case. Again, there's a really good beauty company out there, Queendom Glam. That's my daughter's, by the way. But with Joe, you've got this urge to control everything. And I don't think when Joe lacks emotion, yeah, that's something that Carole obviously lacks as well, when she's talking about her husband who's missing. I personally did not see one shred of emotion, other than when she was talking about anything other than her missing husband. Yeah. So when she's talking about her missing husband, zero emotion, zero care, zero anything other than, hey, it wasn't me. Like, I'm proving it wasn't me. But then when you look at Joe as well, there's definitely a lack of emotion towards other people. Definitely a lack of emotion. That empathic connection is just reduced. The strength of any emotion that comes from Joe towards somebody else. Even his husband's is limited. If Joe wants to show it, because Joe wants that emotion. If Joe wants to give a cuddle, it's because Joe needs a cuddle. If Joe wants to give a kiss, it's because Joe needs a kiss. All of this type of stuff that we sort of really need to be mindful of when we're judging Carole Baskin. So we've got that, and there was a part in the program where that employee, I can't remember her name, but she seemed a very balanced individual, and she was the one who, according to Joe, when he was being very reactive in the moment, had said that she had put her arm through the tiger cage. I can't remember the lady's name. Put her arm through the tiger cage. The tiger had ripped it off, So they're all trying to do like first aid and stuff. And then, now again, it could have been the way it was edited. We need to be mindful of this. But because of the way it was edited, it looked as though like Joe had done it, got like the sort of first aid type of stuff going on, made the call, and then the first statement that he made was not about like, I need to get back out there to help her or to save her or to do anything like this. Saf, thank you very much. Yeah, it was Saf. It was, he was crying because it was financially going to ruin him. Yeah, financially going to ruin him. Now, that was really interesting for me because in the moment, all Joe could think about was Joe. Yeah, all Joe could think about was Joe. Now, I'm not saying that that wouldn't be on anybody's mind, all right? I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is there was other examples, just like Carole. It was always about them. They were always at the forefront of their mind rather than anybody else. And again, when you start looking towards Joe, you know, that the dominant one, lack of empathy towards others, the ability to just be self-absorbed, the ability to only do what they want to do, to control that kingdom. Again, you would have to come up with the word narcissistic, or at least narcissistic elements for Joe Exotic. Because other than Joe Exotic being named Joe and being a man, and Carole Baskin being named Carole and being a woman, they are so similar in traits, so similar in traits, that it's quite uncanny. Yeah, it is quite uncanny. And again, this is not my opinion. I'm just looking at the different characteristics that they display and pointing out what I'm observing. That's not to say that there's other things that I haven't missed. That's not to say that there's other things out there. But just from what I've observed, and again, let me know in the comments below, when you actually compare the behaviors, forget who they are, just compare the behaviors, you're like, whoa, these two could have been separated at birth. And let's be fair, Joe had a mullet that could easily be Carole's haircut's twin. So there is stuff there that we can go on. And then we come to Doc Antle. All right. This was one of my favorite guys. One of my favorite guys there. So Doc Antle, yeah, where do we get started with Doc Antle? Now, Doc Antle comes in quite early in the episode, and it gives like a little bit of history about him. And again, from recollection, if I'm wrong or if I need a bit of a nudge, please put that in the comments below. We've got 280 people on there. Fantastic, 280 people. Please remember to hit that like button. If we can get the likes up to what the viewers are, that would be fantastic. I really support the channel and make it worth my while doing it. So with Doc Antle, he seemed to have a history where, now I don't know if this was in America, maybe you, the viewers, can point it out in the comments, but it was somewhere that looked very, very Indian, and he had like this guru, some type of hero, some type of person that he wanted to emulate. I can't remember the gentleman's word, but he was definitely of a sort of Indian-ish type presence with the robes on and with the hair, and they had this big sort of dome tent in the middle of a field. I remember from the Netflix series, and they had like two tigers lying outside, and it showed you Doc Antle being young, and he had this sort of beard and long hair going on there. And when people first started talking, okay, so now we've got a third person who likes to dominate their own space, who is in love potentially more with tigers or himself than he is with his fellow human beings. So very similar to Carole and also very similar to Joe. Now, again, I know the relationship was, or at least the narrative between the Netflix documentary was all about between Carole and Joe. At least that's where the main focus was. But you definitely had Doc Antle across here. And then obviously, I can't remember the other guy's name, the one who took the whole zoo of Joe Exotic. But Doc Antle was such an interesting character. And one of the first things that I noticed about Doc Antle was when he was being interviewed. All right, when he was being interviewed for the program, it was almost like this is my cribs, but he was telling the production crew what to do. He was saying, I think you should do it like this, and I'll go around the back and I'll open my front door and we'll do it like this. And what was really interesting for me is Doc Antle seemed to, again, that lack of awareness that was both within Joe and Carole about other people's needs, other people's desires, other people's emotions. It was all about him controlling that particular situation. And there's one moment that really stood out for me was when when he was asking him to, or when he was just introducing himself. I would say, "Hey, I'm Believing Bruce. Nice to meet you. How you doing? I hope you're having a good time." Whereas Doc Antle, give it like, "Hi, my name is Doc." Now he's got some type of Asian, Far Eastern, Middle Eastern type name, Bhagwan or whatever it was. Again, put in the comments if you've got it there. But there's some type of name that he's adopted from his guru that means like the Lord or the Lord's child, or like I am the Lord, or it's something along those lines. And then Antle. And then what after he'd done, he introduced his name, he then spelt it. Word for word, he spelt his name out. And it was just like, I'm going to tell you what my name is. And just in case you're going to search for it on Google or social media, I don't want to take any chance of me potentially getting an extra admirer. So I'm just going to stop here. And in case you didn't understand my name, I'm going to spell it for you. Letter for letter. just so I've communicated that. And again, that may be common for him. And again, we've got to acknowledge that. But it is not a common, I mean, let's face it, all right, you're going out to a party and you meet Steve, all right? So you're with your best buddy, your buddy knows Steve, you don't. You introduce, hey, my name's Bruce, and he says, hiya, my name's Steve, that's Steve. Like, you meet a girl, hey, my name's Kelly, that's Kelly. It's like, what? So that was the first, time where I thought, oh, hello, we've got an interesting character here. But then it gets more interesting with Doc Antle. What we've got with Doc Antle is the fact that, how can I put it? Again, very high control individual. Now, I might be going to get this wrong, but let me know in the comments either yes or no. He only employs or sleeps with virgins, or there's something along those lines there, where one of the ladies who then escapes his clutches, or that's how it's, the sort of narrative that's gone, is like he doesn't employ anybody who is not young or a virgin, or that they're inexperienced, so he can then control them. Again, I just want to make sure that I'm being accurate there. And if you understand where I'm coming from, you'll probably understand the narrative that I'm trying to explain. But there's some type of criteria that Doc Antle places upon the women that he shares a relationship with. I believe at the time he had like 4 partners, 4 girlfriends, 4 associates, something along those lines like that. And when you start, I'd love to have a brew with him just to understand the guy. Yeah, just ask him some questions. I think it'd be very, very interesting conversation. Not saying I would like it, but I think it would be interesting. Because when you look at the fact that he's given himself like doctor, yeah, he wants you to believe that, and then he gives himself this middle name like Dr. Lord. You can see he's got a sense of self-importance. And then he starts to choose his harem, the ladies who he surrounds himself with. And again, just like Joe Exotic and just like Carole Baskin, they are not allowed a day off. It's like, yeah, you can come and you can spend time with me, you got to sleep with me, but I'll let you pat the tiger. I mean, I've never held a tiger. But I'm starting to ponder and to be curious about, well, there must be some awesome magic that flies about from patting tigers, from taking tigers for a walk or something. And they've got this like almost Aladdin type show that is going on and starts to be created where, it's all sort of praise be to Doc Antle. And then he comes riding in on his elephant. It's like Alexander the Great. And again, a lot of what Doc Antle says is scripted. I want to say that there's that lack of emotion. In fact, I will say that there is definitely a lack of emotion within Doc Antle's expressions. So again, please check this out on Netflix. Don't just take my word for it. But when Doc Antle is speaking to camera, it's like we're not actually getting a person. What we are getting is an actor. What we are getting is a performer. What we are getting is someone who has scripted these lines and rehearsed them time and time again. We are just getting a regurgitation, if you will, of Doc Antle's PR, his PR machine. He's very controlling. He's very specific. He wants everything his way. When you put that with the lack of emotion, when you put that with the control that he's got over the women who he spends time with, again, he doesn't let them have time off. I don't even know if he pays them any money. I can't remember. I can't recall that, so I wouldn't want to make that statement. But I remember from the lady's story that she was saying is that apart from the tigers and sort of living in that area, though it was a really hard life. Yeah, it was a really hard life. So when you actually compare all three of them, I would say one trait, one behavior, one classification that you could definitely see is present within all of them is this narcissistic qualities, these narcissistic traits of that self-importance, of that sort of sense of self. All lights must shine on me, all eyes must look at me, all tongues must whisper my name. How they treat other people, the controlling nature that they do. Now, again, this may be part of being a successful business person. I'm not saying this is all bad. I'm just saying it's what they do. It's what I have observed. And I got something here, some narcissistic qualities where there's certain psychometric tests. And I know there's various psychometric tests out there that people can do. And to test for narcissism, and again, some people offer there's 3 different levels of narcissism, like sort of categories that you can put people in. But there's an accepted version, and some of the points here are a grandiose sense of self-importance. Well, all 3 of them definitely would tick that block. Yeah, definitely would tick that box. Sorry. Yeah, a preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. And again, all 3 of them with their own aspects are that domination of that industry, of that area, not just for the tigers, but because it's them who run that. And I think Joe Exotic said this, or one of his staff said this, like, people don't come to see the tigers, they come to see me. That was the narrative that was, that Joe himself was offering. So again, all 3 of them would tick that particular box. Again, just watch the episodes because those behaviors are there. Belief that they're special and unique. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Again, that can't really be argued with. Definitely. And remember, we're not talking about just we are taking care of ourselves. We're talking about a real elevated sense of like, I am the person. All eyes should be on me. The need for excessive admiration. Yes. A sense of entitlement. Yes. Interpersonally exploitative behavior. 100%. 100% for all 3 of them. Lack of empathy. Well, I've just covered that. Yeah, the lack of empathy towards others was one of the most remarkable ticks, if I can call it that, from all 3 individuals. There was almost none. In fact, I'm going to say that all episodes, now again, this is a big call. But I can't remember, that's not to say there's not, but I can't remember at any time where any of those 3 people showed emotion or care, toward genuine care, let's call it that, genuine care towards other people, right? Genuine care towards other people. Envy of others, well, definitely, effectively, all three of them were wanting, the other person's business or the status or all the PR or the sort of social media content, or, the customers. That there was a definite, but it was more than business. It was personal. This is what puts it into that category for me. It was definitely personal. Because what you've got is three people with the same characteristics all fighting each other, not just for the business, but to dominate that space, to have all that adulation towards themselves. And demonstration of arrogant and haughty behaviors or attitudes, well, absolutely. Now, it's a question that we've got to ask here, because when we look at that narcissistic traits, without them being that, and again, you can look at a lot of successful, Donald Trump. Yeah, Donald Trump. Would they be successful business people without that? But that's not the question that I'm trying to answer here. The question is, what is the one common denominator from a psychological profile that would connect them all? Who is the most evil? Who is the most insane? Who is the most manipulative? Well, actually, I think what we've got to do is we've got to offer that on the evidence, and it's just the evidence of Netflix. I'm sure there's other stuff out there on the internet, that actually they're probably on the same level-ish as each other. That's something that I would offer based on that narcissistic exam, those qualities that people are looking for to see whether they are narcissists or not. Now, what do you guys think? Did you guys notice those behaviors within the Netflix episode? Did you notice how they controlled the space? Did you notice how they got people to work with them for virtually free? Did you notice the lack of empathy towards others, but the total self-absorption of oneself? That's here. So that's something that I would like to do. Again, I always try to go for fair and balanced. That's not to say that, I don't think Carole, did she kill her husband or not? That's like a separate issue here, right? That's a separate issue. But when you compare all three characters, hey, I would love to get all three of them into a room together. Can you imagine doing some type of reality documentary where the three of them are in a house and all the cameras are just on them for 28 days? Now that would be another Netflix sensation. That would be a number one in all the movies across the globe, to get those three characters into a house and just to see how they do get on. Okay, so hopefully, let's go for 5 minutes on the questions. If you've got any particular questions, just let me go. Remember, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. That'd be great to support the channel. We are going for 50. Now I've got a bit of a competition here. All right, a bit of a competition. I brought this up the week before. So obviously what I'm trying to do is go for 50,000 subscribers. So I've got a couple of prizes to give away. What we're going to be doing is that I have got a big selection of books. I think I mentioned this about 2 weeks ago. So self-help books. We've also got like performance psychology books, coaching books, books that I use on myself, books that I use on my clients. So if you would like to win, again, all this will be done, it'll be disinfected, it will be, pandemic free. We'll do it properly. Because at the moment, I think I'm washing my hands a good 30 times a day. My hands have never been so clean. Not a bad thing. But I will be sending out some books to the winner. And what I'd like people to do is that if you can just, take either a photograph of this or just some type of promotion where you can go on and you can share it to either your Twitter story or your Instagram story. So if you haven't followed me on Instagram and Twitter, please do so. Go on your story, go on the Twitter feed, put something on there, include a photo about, like this channel, it was good, it was interesting for psychology or body language, whatever it is. And tag 5 people that you think may be interested in subscribing to this channel as well. Then what we'll do, we've got the little box down the bottom there, is that everybody who does that, you go into the box, and what I will be doing is I'll be drawing names out. So actually I'm going to be drawing 2 names because I've got a lot of books. I've got an extra delivery from Amazon that all of a sudden come in a tsunami. I've been waiting for about 6 weeks. So I've got a load of books. So there's going to be 2 prize winners. But yeah, come give a little bit of support for here. If you can share it on your Instagram story, tag me, or on Twitter as well, tag 5 friends, a little photo to prove that you are on the channel, that you've been here watching my videos, whatever it may be, just a little snapshot, and you'll go into the box. And in 2 weeks' time, we will be drawing 2 winners. Now, what we're also going to do is a special prize where people either ask me for one-to-one coaching. You know, some people got their mental health issues, or they just like a bit performance enhancement to try and move them from steps A to B, to try and find out where they are, or to try and help themselves be a better version of themselves. But also, I get asked for one-to-one body language training. Obviously, I've got 20 years of experience. Bruce, can you train me this? Can you show me? You know, do you actually run any courses, etc., etc.? So what I'll also be doing as a prize, if you will, is that the person who I'll be drawn out for the books, but I'll also be drawn out the prize for to do some one-to-one coaching and also some one-to-one body language training. Again, it's not hard. We'll just set up a Skype call and we will do that. So if that is something, remember, the more times you do it, so if you do it 5 times, what I'll do is I'll put you 5 times into the box, so you're more likely to win it. Ideally, it'll be 5 different people you tag. Obviously, don't spam your friends or whatever. But if personal development, if helping you with your mental health is something that you're interested in, if you would like to receive some books that I read and I give my clients and I use on myself as well, then please, again, in Instagram, in Twitter, 5 friends, some little proof that you've been on the channel, I'll put you in the box. And also, if you would like to receive some one-to-one coaching or one-to-one body language training, again, as many times as you do it, that'll go in the box. And in 2 weeks' time, I will be picking the winners. So I have had there's been quite a few people. Obviously, it seems quite an evocative subject. People are interested in personal development. They're interested in body language training. So all this type of stuff, please help us obviously raise the profile of the channel. It makes me worthwhile for doing it. Also, we might get more towards that 50,000 subscribers. I mean, I'm humbled that I've got over 100 subscribers. That's that is fantastic. Really happy with that. So to be gunning towards 50,000 subscribers, really, really humbled, if I can say that. It's I'm very thankful, that people want to come in, they want to listen. We've got some stuff coming up, maybe with some other YouTubers, that we're going to be starting to look into more, personal performance, mental health, maybe taking some of your problems and then sharing them in a confidential way, so taking out names, etc. But if we can help other people with the same information, and we can do that on a global scale, just the basics about how we think, feel, and act, then I think we could be onto something really special. So I'm really hopeful for the channel, really thankful for your support. Again, I appreciated that I did ask some people to put some questions in there now, and I just waffled on a little bit. So if you have got any questions, let's have a look here. So put in your questions. Also, thank you for the super chat comments. Like I say, any money raised will be going towards the Mind charity that helps people with their mental health. Do you think Carole's husband is delayed in thinking his wife is perfect person? No, I think she would be. In fact, this is about Carole's husband. I would say she's the primary controller. He is the secondary. She's very much in control of him. She dominates that space. He does effectively what keeps her happy, not what he wants to do. That would be my take again on the limited data that we've got. Let's have a look here. It could be something that you said that was against the algorithm. No, that's not a question. Meant diluted. Cool. All right then. Well, look, not many questions coming through. I hope you had a good time. And again, Thursday, 7 p.m, always UK local time. Until that point there, I'll see you next week. But remember to be kind to yourselves and each other. Thanks very much, guys.